Here we are, a couple of seconds late. Sorry, everybody. Real life happens.
Man,
How you
this
doing, Eric?
machine, Nick, I'm doing well. A little technical trouble here in the studio this morning.
It's all
Um,
right.
I thought Macs weren't supposed to have issues.
Is it the machine or the user?
It's probably both, but the machine was a little slow.
A little slow,
I
a
should
little slow.
have.
We'll blame it on the machine. We'll blame it on the machine. Real quick before we get started, I have to give a shout out to my brother-in-law and my sister for having their daughter this morning at about 4 o'clock in the morning. So
Oh,
very happy and excited and proud for them. Name is Stella, so very excited to welcome her to the family.
congrats! That's
Yep,
awesome.
thanks. Thank you very much. Everybody's very excited. Everybody's doing great, very healthy. It's all you can ask for. So,
Nice.
and then we're enjoying some coffee, having more technical difficulties as it looks like the camera has changed, but as any good IT organization would do, we are semper gumby. We're always flexible and we can roll with whatever we're given. So, with that, there was a couple things that I had planned out, but because of that slick transition to this topic, we gotta talk about MSP, right? About good
Let's.
takeovers versus bad takeovers,
Oh, wow.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, just dive into the meat and potatoes of it unless you got a different thought, but I feel like the transition is a good topic.
Yeah, it's interesting because we've taken over a couple managed service accounts where we're coming in and taking over for an incumbent provider. And we recently just went through two, and it was a night and day difference where the first one was really difficult to work with. They weren't giving us the passwords, and they wouldn't uninstall their tools and install our tools until the last day. So it made the transition really difficult. And the customer is the one that ultimately suffers at the end, even though
Mhm.
the customer had given them the appropriate notice. It just went to show like wow, these folks are not in it for the customer. And then the
Right.
second one, which things happen, and they weren't interested. The customer wasn't interested in continuing to do business with that provider, and the provider was really gracious, helped us transition, and made it a smooth experience for the customer at the end of the day, and that's what's important. So the first one I wouldn't do business with again, and certainly wouldn't recommend them. But the second one, absolutely, right.
Yep.
If it was a scenario where they had services that they were providing that the customer was looking for and didn't fit what we could do well. Absolutely. Just from that experience of a good transition versus one that really was a bad experience.
Yeah, it's kind of the tale of 2 integrities. You have
Yeah,
one,
I like it.
you're on one of either side, and, I think one thing that's missed often that, I think that everybody would agree on is documentation, right? The
Mm.
tool, having processes documented so people know what they're doing, processes, procedures, etcetera. I think I'm guilty of talking about that a lot, but, I think it speaks to organization of that organization, how apt they are to wanna continue to push the envelope, think about new ideas, and, do the right thing for that said organization. So when a company, obviously like us that wants to come in and do a clean transition, this documentation obviously is very helpful for us, but I think it shows the buy-in that they had for the customer, and that's kinda what you were talking about as well. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, quick chat on MSP stuff there. Um, Anything else, Eric, that you wanted to touch on quickly with MSP transitions or anything in general? How
We,
we're doing things differently or
we've got some cool stuff coming up here. We'll probably be able to talk about it in the next couple of sessions. But you're really working at bringing a different experience to the customers, where instead of just doing a flat fee, which most managed service providers do, being able to do something that's a little more dynamic, so the customer is really only paying for the time that they're using.
Mhm.
Um, the problem I've had with managed services for a while is it's a race to the bottom from a
We should
dollar
coin that
perspective
term.
where it's kind of sold as this wonderful thing, and then it quickly transitions to maybe a team that's underexperienced, and then the customer is ultimately the one that suffers at the end of the day. So really trying to look at a new paradigm to deliver a much better managed service experience than is typically found in the space.
Yeah, I think, I'm really excited for what's to come and when we can finally share it, but, I think this just shows the buy-in to this to our clients that we're serving, right? Let's try to what's next? How can we serve them better? Take the time to really learn from maybe not necessarily past mistakes, but learn from things that are good and bad and take those and, you know, make a much better outcome for our clients that we're serving. So
And
exciting stuff coming up.
Nick, Jen, and I did a tabletop exercise yesterday.
It did. How did it go?
Went awesome.
Did it?
We
What?
were we were flying um, over Wisconsin,
Yep.
coming back to the airport, about 3,000 feet, 2,500. I said, Jen, how about we do a power off landing? Right, gonna pull the power. We're gonna glide in. And, Jen's like, "Oh, yeah, like a tabletop exercise." I said, "Exactly, right?"
Yes.
We're
That's
gonna just
perfect.
we're just gonna we pull the power back, we don't shut the engine off, it's still the prop is still turning,
Right.
but, about a mile away from the airport, pull that power back and, enter the pattern and land. So that was fun. Jen really liked it, and, I said, "Yeah, we gotta give Nick a hard time."
I'm all for the hard time, and I saw her lovely post yesterday, and it was seemed to be spot on, you know, with, practice and, practice until you can't get it wrong,
Yeah.
and, exactly what you guys were doing. I think that, I'm happy you guys did it and not me, but I'm happy to hear about the story.
It reminds me, I was kinda thinking of these real world practice scenarios that aren't
Mhm,
necessarily related to cyber, and, I was on a vacation many years ago in, Jamaica, and I
mhm.
went on a scuba diving do you dive?
I have, yeah, I did a bunch of diving in Japan, when I was in the military many years
Okay,
ago.
so this'll resonate with you. We go out on the dive, and it's one of those where you load up, you've got, there's a captain of the boat, you've got a dive master, and maybe, 6 or 8 people, right?
Yep,
And some people know each other, others don't, right? People are coming in, onesie twosies, and then you load all your gear, onto the boat, and then you're going out maybe 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes out into the ocean to a dive site. So we load up and, boat parks, anchors, whatever. And then you're getting all your gear on and then you're diving, right? So, most of the time people don't travel with 100% of their gear, right? You take mask, fins, snorkel, dive knife, and if you're going to wear a dive skin, something like that, right? Just to kind of it's like a really small wetsuit, like really thin wetsuit, dive skins, whatever. Some people just wear shorts and a t-shirt, but then the diving operator typically provides the tanks and the buoyancy compensator device, which is a vest that you can inflate and deflate to control your buoyancy in the water, and then the octopus rig, which is you have two regulators to breathe. You have your essentially your gauges, which tell you how much air you have left in your tank. Um, and then you have this secondary hose, which you can buddy breathe with somebody, right? Like
right.
you can give them the secondary regulator so they could breathe off of your tank, and then the fourth hose goes into your vest. So that's you're pumping air into the vest or letting air out of the vest to increase or decrease. And you leave, I don't know, somewhere like 2200 psi, something like that, in the tank. And if you're relatively healthy and in good cardio condition, you can stay underwater for a fair amount of time, just kind of calmly breathing, conserving your oxygen. So, um, e- not all, I'm going to say not all dive places have equal quality
Yes.
of equipment, right?
Yep.
So, you assemble, you throw the oxygen, or you throw the octopus rig on the back of the tank, put it on your back. It's got these hoses coming off of it, and then the tank is attached to the vest and these hoses. So everything's plugged in. You're going, you check it. Yep, good. Jump in the water, and then everybody assembles up. You have a buddy system where you have a dive buddy, somebody that you're keeping an eye on, and then you have the dive master. And we're talking about water here. Let's say it's between 60 and 80 feet of visibility,
Sure.
so it's decent visibility, right?
Yeah, it's great.
And we were going down. I think this dive was to, we were going to see a wreck, and then maybe some assemblage of a reef, and maybe something else. So kind of like three stops we were going to do on one tank, where we go down, spend a couple of minutes at the first thing, swim over to the next thing, check it out, swim over to the next thing, and then the boat knows where you're going, and the boat moves from this place to the other place to pick you up. So we go down, we go under, and you got to equalize your ears. So
I had the worst time with that.
it's it can
That
be
always
tough.
killed me.
It can be tough, right? If you have a
Yep.
little head cold, allergy, or whatever, right? So because the every 33 feet underwater is one atmosphere. So you go underwater even 10 feet, you're feeling pressure
Right.
in your ears, and you're doing the Valsalve maneuver, where you're pinching your nose and kind of gently blowing and putting air into your eustachian tubes and into your ear system to kind of equalize that pressure. And then on the way up, the air is coming out. Same thing in aviation, Nick, like, but less of a, it's less like, you can feel it in 10 feet in the water, but maybe in the air, you'll feel it after 500 feet, right?
Sure.
As you go up or down. So, we're going down, everything's fine. Going down, cool. Yep. Equalizing, good. You get the buoyancy controlled. Everybody's in a group. It's like, oh, okay, you're kind of getting excited about stuff that we're seeing underwater.
Yep.
Going down and, do a check. Okay. Yeah. Air's a little low. Maybe it's 1800. I'm thinking it should be 2000, right? It's like, okay. Yeah, gauge is working okay. Trying to figure out what's going on.
Oh,
We're slowly going down, going down, going down. 60 feet, cool. Checking out the, whatever it was, maybe a sunken boat or something. And then now my air is like, I don't know, 1600, right? And it's faster than
dropping
it would
quick.
normally be consumed. So I'm like, okay, what's going on? Do I have like, loose hoses, or what? Um, yep, sure enough, the secondary um
Oh, no.
regulator is leaking a little bit. And these regulators have, it's, you've seen in the movies where you have the
Yep.
thing in your mouth that you're
Right.
breathing, and the way it works, there's a valve system in there. So when you suck in, you're breathing from the tank, and then when you blow out, the valve closes, and then the bubbles come out, these ports in the thing. So, I'm like, okay, there's a small leak in this thing. And my dive buddy, I don't know where he is.
He ditched you.
He, he's doing something, and everybody's kind
He
of
would not be a
clustered.
good MSP provider.
Everybody's kind of clustered around um, the dive master, right? And it was, kind of everybody's moving as a group. Um, and the dive master, he might be knocking on his tank or something like that, and then making gestures of fish or whatever, right? To
Yep.
to kind of maybe like point out something in like a crevice of the boat or whatever. That was the sunken boat. So I'm like, okay, I got to keep an eye on this thing here. And I'm thinking to myself, like, all right, some of these people are out of shape.
Yeah.
They're going to blow their oxygen much faster than I am. Cause at the time I was pretty young and in pretty good shape. So I'm like, okay, this won't be a problem. I just got to really slow my breathing down, not make a lot of
Relax.
movement, just be relaxing. So that didn't work. Um, Air's still leaking out of the thing. I'm like, I'm like trying to, maybe the valve's not seated right or something, and I'm kind of more focused on this. And the group is now, moving along, and I'm trying to keep up, trying to get close to the dive master to let him know I've got this problem. Now, the dive master, this dude must have been born in the water because he's just
Oh,
effortlessly just kicking, and he's just swimming along. So
cruising.
I, I, uh, now my air's at 800, right?
Now we're getting scared.
And I'm like, shit, I can't just pop up to the surface, right? Because you got
Right.
this nitrogen in your system. And that's why, you kind of go up to the surface slowly to let the nitrogen come out of your system. If you come up too quickly, you can get the bends,
Bad
right?
day.
So now I'm like, okay, we got a problem. We got to deal with this problem.
Problem.
So um I
Oh,
I make a dash, Nick, to catch up to the um to the dive master. Like
yep.
I'm like I take an underwater sprint, Nick. Now my sprinting is about as fast as this dude's regular kick, right? I
Yep.
had these I thought I was slick or whatever. I had these force fin
Sure.
um fins, and
Yep.
they have like a different shape to them. They're not the traditional like long fins. But anyway, like I'm not generating as much power as he is. I sprint
You
to
need one
catch
of
up
those
to him.
underwater scooters, you hold on to it and
That's a different story. I was a dive in
oh,
Hawaii with
yeah.
that, but
We got
but so I catch up to him, Nick, right? And I pull on his leg, and he turns back, he looks at me, and I point at my
regulator.
well, at how much oxygen I have left.
Sure.
So he grabs it, he looks at it, and then he's like, he motions me closer. And at this point in time, I just sprinted, right? So I'm like,
Yeah, you're sucking air.
I'm sucking air. So then he's like, he's just like, all right, calm down. He just is motioning, calm down. And then he gives me his secondary regulator. So now I'm attached to him,
Yep.
like we're swimming like, a foot apart because I got to breathe from his secondary thing. Mine is, down to 600 and leaking. Um, so, and we're in the dive now 10 minutes, right? And now I'm going to be the guy
I'm
that
gonna be the guy
is
to pull the chute.
that's getting everybody
Riled
up
up.
to surface, right? Um, but he shows me his tank. This dude had barely consumed any oxygen,
Any
Nick. Yeah, he barely consumed anything. So
yeah.
he had plenty of air for he and I after,
Mhm.
we kind of got me calmed down. Um, and then, the group continued and we went to the different sites. We probably cut it a little bit short. And then we go up to the surface, and it's one of those eerie things. You get up to the surface, the boat had moved and it's there, but
Right.
we're out. It's not the middle of the ocean, but we're out far enough
Yeah, you're a
away
good ways out.
where you can't see land.
Yeah.
So had the situation gone a different way and I went up to the surface without the group on my own, you could easily see, like, there's a couple I don't remember the name of the movie, but, like, the dive person gets
Yeah,
lost.
open water or something like that?
Something like that, right? And you're
Yeah,
like, "Well,
yeah.
how could that happen?" But, it
Right.
could absolutely happen, right? If,
You
the
get turned
group
around, yeah.
y y and then you're up
Choppy
at the
water.
surface, and you're like, "Well, where is everybody?" So, yeah, that was, I was just thinking about that, I don't know why, the other day, as I
Okay.
was thinking through these, the because we're setting up to do some not only tabletops, but coop
Yep.
planning and DR
Right.
planning, and it's all around, IT and security and whatnot. But this is one of those where, from a diving perspective, there was no pre-planned
Nothing.
discussion about here's what we're gonna do, if X, Y, and Z happens.
Yep.
We don't the group doesn't know each other. We don't know the dive master. It's just like, you just kinda trust that
You're just
everything is
rolling
gonna
with it.
go well. But it would have been nice if they said, okay, here's a diving debrief that,
Yeah.
if X, Y, and Z happens, we're going to do these things. But I've not dove in a while, not because of that. I just don't like to dive in lakes and rivers, which is what we've got around here.
Right. Yeah, it's been a long time for me as well, but I think I can comfortably say this is the only IT show where you would be talking IT and then talk about scuba diving. But that's exactly what this show is about. But yeah, it was only a couple times. I think I've done it 3 times off the coast of Okinawa, Japan,
Oh,
and
nice.
it was beautiful. I can't say it's my thing. I enjoyed it. Um, but when you get down that deep, it's just like, do we what's the reason to be down this deep?
I, we this is the same trip. Kelly and I, where were we? Was that? I can't remember which trip that was. No, I don't think it was that same I'm trying to remember, um, the trip that we did. Um, no. Yeah, no, I'll have to think of that one, tell
We'll
that
bring it up
story
next episode.
another time. Yeah.
Well, we'll wrap it up here with the people, but we got some of us have Wild West Hackenfest coming up next week in Mile
Nice.
High, Denver.
Yeah.
Well, it's all next week. Those of us that are just going to the conference, I think it starts Thursday and Friday, or it starts Wednesday evening and it's Thursday and Friday. So the only question I've got for Eric is I guess, what should the question be? What's a key conference? What are you bringing to a conference? Like, is there like when I go to a conference, I bring this. I got to bring this, like a tip or a trick, you know? Because I was thinking about this too. It's like, you know, they do such a good job of having so much good stuff at these conferences. There's so many good vendors. You can get a bunch of free swag, but I think for me, you're on the move a lot. The only thing that I could think of that it's like a must have is like a MagSafe, something battery pack, right? Just get an
Mm.
extra battery pack on your phone. Um, but I was curious if you had any thoughts of any like quick tips and tricks of something that you're bringing to a conference.
A cigar cutter and a lighter.
I'm thinking more tactical, and you're thinking that's good though, because I should probably take that into account because that's how we're meeting people. You're meeting people
Uh,
over a
we've
cigar.
at Wild West Hackenfest, Mr. Miyagi,
Yep,
um,
I met him last year.
sitting around the fireplace outside of the hotel, just telling stories, having a good time. And sometimes you can get a cigar. People
Yeah.
will maybe have one, but just having a decent lighter so you're not burning your fingers with matches.
This
Um,
is the advice everybody needed.
is good. And then, you definitely want to bring your own cutter because usually somebody is going to have one of those
Like the
punch
plastic.
cutters, like they have it on their key ring, and it's like, oh yeah, this is
Oh,
cool,
sure.
right? Like we're just going to cut this little hole out of the back of it, and smoking a cigar with a punch is a terrible idea.
That's not the way to do it. Got it.
It makes the cigar bitter, but like, I'm not
Mm,
gonna hate on anybody smoking, but I don't like it. You gotta have a straight cut, not a V cut, none of this nonsense, straight cut. So that's bring your
straight
own
cut.
bring your own cutter, Nick. And then yeah, just have a good time.
Oh, this is exactly the advice everybody needed. I should have thought that question through, but it's this is the perfect response. This is what I should have expected. So, you got
What are
anything
you
else for
doing
the people
what are you doing for coffee this year, Nick?
for
Are you
coffee this
roasting?
year?
Are
No,
you
not
roasting
yet.
yet?
I haven't got that far deep into it. I don't even know what I have right now. It's no, I know what it is. It's Duluth Trading. I forget which one it is, but I did grind them myself. That I can
Nice.
tell you. How about yourself?
I got a surprise gift.
Mm,
Um, Kelly got
okay.
me a roaster over Christmas. So
Right.
I'm not doing the popcorn roasting anymore. I got that roaster.
Ooh.
Um,
Are we talking about one that's like a little dish with the spinning?
Kind of,
deal?
yeah.
Okay,
Yep. There's so many different beans. I think that's kinda getting, like, way deep into it, like, different, different altitudes that they're grown at,
right.
how
I
long
wouldn't even know where to
they're
start.
dried. Yeah, it's deep, so I'm experimenting with that, having some fun.
Well, let's hear about it next episode. Maybe we'll have to revisit the video you did over Christmas or update that one.
Sounds good.
All right, sir. Thanks everybody for joining us today. We'll see you next time.